This needed new facilities, including a plastics plant, which was also built in 1972. Truck production also commenced at Campbellfield in 1971, with a modified Louisville truck being the first off the production line. Things continued to improve right through to 1982, when Ford's Falcon XE finally achieved the company's long-standing aim of gaining the top-selling passenger vehicle in Australia. This was probably the zenith for Ford in the country. Declining demand and changing economic conditions from this point onwards meant that the company started looking for cutbacks.
This is all about the Ford factory that used to be over here in Campbellfield that is now closed. We no longer make Ford or Holden in Australia. It's a real shame.
The Campbellfield plant closed on the 7th of October 2016 by producing its last car, a blue XR6 Ford Falcon. Past and present workers and many others commemorated this day, which impacted many across the country. At the time, the Falcon was the longest continuous name of any manufactured car in Australian history, having been in continuous production for 54 years. After it closed, much of the huge site lay dormant. Ford had to contend with a lot of decontamination before it could feasibly sell the property. Then, in September 2018, the company listed both its Geelong and Campbellfield plants for sale. It took a little while, but eventually a commercial property developer, Paligra, purchased the site for an unknown price, but estimated to be around $75 million. Since it purchased the site, Paligra has started a $500 million redevelopment called Assembly, a nod to the site's past. Its plans to include food manufacturing, engineering and commercial uses, including a hotel, conference centre and childcare centre. Not much activity happened on the site for a while, but funnily enough, the COVID-19 pandemic gave the now abandoned factory a new lease of life. In April 2020, as global demand for personal protective equipment skyrocketed, Ford reactivated and retooled its machinery at Campbellfield to manufacture face shields, about 6,000 per day. This brought back many former employees to the site, but of course this was not to be a permanent arrangement. Since the pandemic has come to an end, more recently demolition and remediation works have started. A new petrol station and car service area have been newly built on the corner of Barry Road and Sydney Road. Today, Ford retains some land and buildings to the north of the former assembly plant. It houses the Ford Engineering and Technology Centre, the Asia Pacific Product Development Centre, and administration offices. The heritage-listed Ford Administration Building from 1964 is still used and faces Sydney Road in its large landscaped setting. The rest of the site is in a pretty sorry state, with lots of half-demolished structures and abandoned buildings lying around. There seems to be some area used as a kind of innovation centre, and it's definitely not completely disused. There are some places where you can have a peek inside buildings and facilities, but there is a lot of security around with motion sensor cameras and rather threatening patrols. The Ford site in Campbellfield, like other large manufacturing facilities in Victoria, have created a strong legacy in Melbourne and Australia. Infrastructure, services and housing were all created to service this specific factory, which would otherwise not exist or look very different. In particular, it's left its mark on the thousands of people who worked here or in other parts of the supply chain over many decades, and has continued to do so in the places that it left behind. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it and